Wyndham County, which is Brattleboro's the seat. Yeah.
Where exactly? So where?
Woodsboro.
I don't know. I was sure that I was going to. I grew up basically in Western Mass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, my parents are Western Mass people from Greenfield.
Oh, sure. Yeah. I went to Greenfield Community College.
Oh, as my dad did.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Oh, that's fabulous. Great place. Great place. Lived in Northampton too.
Yeah, my uncle does.
Yeah. It's cheap there.
Well, of course, the name too. Right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing.
Yeah.
Because don't forget, growing up in the river valley, we're a Polish name.
Yeah.
You don't hear anything but.
Yeah. Yeah. So very interesting history in that part of the state as well.
Where'd you go? Did you want to get out? I mean, when you
So we got some time.
Yep. And again, it's literally it's always a shot in the dark, so to speak. You wait around and it's when the reenactors really British reenactors get their act together, get moving down the street. That's really
Yeah.
So we're doing weather now. Donna or Sam, do you have a approximate time?
Oh boy. Another 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think the later the better, because it's nothing yet. So.
And then about 3 inches, a little closer. Perfect. Sure. Can we get mic check?
Claudia was asking for a mic check from both of us.
That's right. The necessity of the times more than ever calls for our utmost circumspection, deliberation, according. Trust that we shall act accordingly, not rash.
That was the perfect mic check. How am I going to top that?
You are not, sir. You are not.
So they'll come to us in about 3 minutes. So obviously there's not going to be a battle happening to talk about. So, like I said, I'll ask you to kind of, like 250 years ago at 5:19 in the morning,
Exactly.
What was happening?
That's right. Working the parallels is great. Here in Lexington today, events are proceeding in nearly perfect parallel with what it was like 250 years ago. They're in Buckingham Tavern, the British are on their way down that side, and everyone knows what's about to happen. Nobody knows the shots are going to go. That I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
You're talking. So do we want just like a 2-shot of you both, or do you want me to start time on you?
I think we could just start on the 2. That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
I'll just leave it like this.
So I was remembering what we were talking about yesterday in terms of the lighting. I would have to bet there's a whole lot more light now than 250 years ago, right? Like maybe they had some of these candlelight.
Yeah, where we are, the artificial one.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Exactly. No,
That's why we don't know who fired the shot. No one could see. It was the fog of war.
That's what again, all the descriptions are one of the things that just read on, and by dawn, we don't mean a glimmer of gray and deep steam, and it was light enough so that see all the depositions. Yep.
Is it just on the desk? And you're with us? Okay. I'm gonna have you in the middle.
News to me.
Yes, and I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah.
Is he not?
I have no idea.
I had a friend text me. Oh, the president's here.
Good morning. We are live from Lexington on the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution.
It's really exciting.
Yes, and reenactors are taking to the Lexington Battle Green this morning. There are so many people here. We are joined by historian Brooke Clark, who will tell us a little bit more about the battle itself. And Lexington was actually the first stop before they went to Concord.
In fact, the British regulars
You're gonna have to say
Boston.
no, you're not convinced. You're sure it was the darkness. Okay. To be continued.
Militia lined up, ready to take them on. And you told me off camera, I find this interesting. We still don't know who fired the first shot. That's right. Historians don't know. When the Redcoats, when the first shot was fired, the British soldiers were firing immediately. So as soon as that first shot rang out, without orders, the British soldiers fired. But we don't know today. It may have come from a colonist who was over there. It may have come from an over-retired redcoat. But as soon as that shot was fired, the Redcoats fired without orders.
Now, here in Lexington, there was a small group of Minutemen, and while they didn't necessarily win against the British, they really took away that element of surprise, though, for the Minutemen.
Well, Jennifer, good morning. I'm joined once again by Craig Sandler, who's familiar to our weekend eye-opener audience with the State House News Service and giving us the latest from the State House. But Craig is also the president of the Lexington History Museum. Craig is obviously dressed for the occasion this morning. Your hat is much better than mine for this occasion. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, in our last segment, you were giving us the history over the year or so leading up to 1775. But let's talk about in the moment. It's about 5:20 or so in the morning right now. At this exact moment, 250 years ago, what was happening here in Lexington?
Exactly. Now, Paul Revere obviously had been out, arrived at the Hancock Park House just up the road, warned Adams and Hancock basically to get out of town, which they were in the process of doing. Revere tried to get to Concord and was captured. That's happened. When arrived in Lexington, obviously, and so forth, obviously, the town, all of the militia were alerted, the town swung into action. Captain Parker, drummed the men to the common. They assembled, they waited around for a while, and then they went over to Buckingham Tavern around 2 in the morning. The reenactors are there now. Everything that happened 250 years ago is happening right now, parallel. Our militiamen are gathered at the tavern. The British reenactors are marching up Mass Ave now, as they did. Revere is doing Paul Revere stuff around Concord. But the point is, at this point, the militia darn well knew that the British were on their way, but they couldn't figure out where they were.
If I can interrupt you for just a second here, Craig, the crowd is cheering because the lights have just dimmed, which is an indication that we're getting just a little bit closer to the reenactment. But continue, please.
Oh, sure. No, and it's this way every year. The anticipation builds as you wait for the British to come up the street. In any event, that's what they were doing. Huge contingent of British. They were trying to. The idea was to surprise the Minutemen, colonials at Concord. There were up to 25 riders out in the countryside. Thousands of them were storing areas. The element of surprise was gone. We were in
Getting going here, and we're going to be with Craig throughout the morning, and we'll be with you here from Lexington Battle Green. Back to you,
Company, handle, arm. Rest your firelocks. Order your firelocks. Company, rest. Sergeant Monroe, record the roll of the company.
Beginning with the front rank, from left to right.
Sound your name.
Lieutenant William Kidd, John Hosmer, Daniel Harrington, John Murphy, Benjamin Wellington, Enoch Wellington, Samuel Tidd, Edmund Monroe, Jonas Monroe, John Monroe Jr., Isaac Hastings, Jonas Stone, Nathaniel Wyman, Corporal Joel Weil, Brent Estabrook, Colin Pierce, John Brown, Thomas Hadley Jr., Sergeant William Monroe, William Diamond, Jonathan Harrington, Reverend Jonas Clark, Samuel Hadley, Gideon Snow, William Brad, Sylvanus Wood, Nathan Monroe, Caleb Harrington, Nathaniel Farmer, Jonathan Laurie, Joshua Reed, James Brown, Benjamin Locke, Daniel Parker, Corporal John Monroe, Joshua Simon, Jonathan Harrington, Francis Brown, Isaac Bussey,
Captain John Parker. Men, we have not heard from our scouts any confirmation as to the movement of the regulars. You are to be dismissed, but be ready to muster at the sound of the drum. I shall return to Buckman Tavern to await word. Anyone entering the tavern must first discharge your musket. Company, handle, arm. Rest your firelocks. Shoulder your firelocks. Prepare to be dismissed by the right about. Face.
Good morning. Thank you for coming to witness our portrayal of the first battle of the American Revolution. My name is Henry Liu, past Captain Commanding of the Lexington Minutemen. On behalf of the Lexington Minutemen and all the people of Lexington, it is a pleasure to welcome you here on this special day. Precisely 250 years ago, on the dawn of April 19th, 1775, this common became the birthplace of American liberty. On the field today are the Lexington Minutemen, commanded by Captain Steve Cole, the Ladies Association of Revolutionary America, His Majesty's 10th Regiment of Foot, the 4th, 5th, and 52nd Regiment Light Infantry Companies, the 1st Foot Guards, and the 16th Light Dragoons. We also have waiting units, visiting units, in the column of British regulars from England and from across the country, including California, to be part of this event. Now, Let's set the stage. It is now 1775. There are no paved roads, flagpole, or statue. There are no Starlink satellites or ChatGPT. This is a small rural town west of Boston, settled as Cambridge Farms in 1642 and incorporated as the town of Lexington in 1713. In the years leading up to 1775, British Parliament imposed various taxes on its colonies, and tensions between England and the colonies grew steadily. King George III kept military forces in Boston to support the royal governor and help contain the colonists' resentment. In December 1773, the Lexington Militia, also known as the Lexington Training Band, was under the command of Captain John Parker. They reaffirmed their resolve to fight for freedom and liberty by taking this pledge. We trust in God that should the state of our affairs require it, we shall be ready to sacrifice our estates and everything dear in life, yea, in life itself, in support of the common cause. By 1774, virtually every town's militia within 50 miles of Boston took similar oaths. A few of the towns had also become storage depots for gunpowder and military supplies. Concord, located just a few miles west of here, was one of those towns. On the night of April 18th, hundreds of British regulars traveled by boat from Boston across the Charles River to neighboring Cambridge, where they awaited distribution of rations before marching off to Concord. That delay allowed Paul Revere and William Dawes, who set out separately on horseback from Boston, to get a head start of the regular column. In addition to the head start, the regulars' steady pace of march once they got moving was no match for the speed of Revere and Dawes on horseback, who were swiftly moving through the darkness to alert local militia captains and others along the route that the British regulars were on the march. Unlike popular belief, they did not shout out, "The British are coming," but rather, "The regulars are out." Revere arrived in Lexington around midnight, Dawes shortly thereafter, at the home of Reverend Jonas Clark, a short distance away from this common. Also at Clark's home were two house guests, John Hancock and Samuel Adams, who recently attended meetings of the Massachusetts Provincial Congress in Concord. Revere and Dawes delivered news from Joseph Warren and the Boston Committee of Safety that the regulars may seek to arrest these two patriots. Upon receiving the news about the regulars' advance, Captain Parker ordered the sounding of the alarm bell in the belfry, which originally stood here on the common, to notify the townspeople and militia of the imminent danger. What you saw earlier was a representation of this alarm, with Captain Parker assembling his men to warn them of the news he just received about the approaching column of the troops. After notifying his men, Parker allowed those living close by to return to their homes. Others remained on the common, and several retired to Buckman Tavern, which you can still see standing nearby. Those going inside the tavern discharged their weapons before going inside, as directed by Captain Parker. While the men of Captain Parker's company assembled on the town common, some women remained behind to safeguard their homes or to watch over loved ones who were unable to leave. But many of the women of Lexington evacuated their homes to keep their families safe from the impending danger of the advancing British column. As you are about to witness, women woke their children in the dead of night, hid valuables, carried what they could with them, and set off with their children to get out of harm's way. As they moved towards safety, many undoubtedly bid farewell to their fathers, husbands, brothers, and sons who were assembled on the common, not knowing if they would see them again. Listen closely, and you may hear those mothers waking their children.
Awake, Joshua. Come now, you must arise. Listen to me. Father has left to muster on the common with the other townsmen. The king's soldiers is marching from Boston. We must leave the house. Come, up now, son. Get dressed.
But Mother, I want to go be with Father.
I need your help here, son. Dress quickly. And then I want you to gather the silver in the trunk and bury it, by the stone wall behind the barn.
Bury it? Why?
To be sure no one thinks they can take it. I will get your brothers and sisters ready. Go now!
Wake up, Sally. Wake up. We must be a-goin'. The alarm riders came through a short time ago, and they warned us that the regulars was marching from Boston, a-comin' right here to Lexington.
Why are they coming here, Mama?
Hush now. We don't know their business, but we must get out of harm's way. Come, let us make haste, little one.
Anna, Lydia, wake now. Come, come! Put on your gowns. Then pack the bread and any other food that we can take with us. We must leave the house, and I know not for how long.
I'm worried about Father and Samuel. Will they be safe?
Yes, I'm sure they can take care of themselves, Anna. We must make haste, so we're well out of the way when the king's troops arrive. I will ready the baby. Lydia, take down the looking glass and hide it under the mattress.
Yes, Mother.
And Anna, get the money that's in the desk, then hide it among the potatoes in the root cellar. Quickly now, daughters! The soldiers will be here soon!
But Mother, where will we go?
Down the lane back of the house and across the meadow to the woodlot, so to be out of sight. Quickly now!
Awake, Joshua. Come now, you must arise. Listen.
Oh yeah, by all means. Much design. And then of course there's this whole other thing called Patriots. That's like rolls on. We'll take it. We'll take it. This is
You have just witnessed a very poignant and personal moment between the men and women of colonial Lexington. They understood that each had an important role to play during this fearful moment of uncertainty. With great courage, the women of Lexington did all they could do to protect their homes and families in the face of grave danger. Throughout the night, Parker sent scouts on horseback towards Boston to watch for the movement of the regulars. One of the riders, Thaddeus Bowman, still remained nearby, awaiting orders from Captain Parker.
Nathan, Go back to the stables and inform Thaddeus Bowman that I wish to see him immediately. Thaddeus.
Aye, Captain.
I'm very concerned. I have not heard from any of the scouts that were sent out earlier, and I have a feeling the regulars are getting very close. Please ride east, post haste down the avenue to see where the redcoats are. I do not want to be surprised by their arrival. We must be ready.
We shall do our very best, Captain.
Godspeed, Thaddeus.
That way.
Earlier in the morning, after warning Hancock and Adams and riding to the west, Revere, Dawes, and local physician Samuel Prescott, whom they picked up along their travels, spied a patrol of British officers on horseback heading towards Lincoln. The patrol also spotted the riders and captured Revere. Shortly thereafter, they heard gunfire coming from Lexington, which was actually the men in Parker's company discharging their weapons as instructed by Captain Parker before entering Buckman Tavern. Revere asserted to his captors that the gunfire was from hundreds of approaching militia, and his captors released him without his horse. Revere returned by foot to Lexington, where Hancock and Adams were preparing to evacuate to Captain Reed's home in Woburn's 2nd Parish, now Burlington, and away from the column of British regulars heading this way. As we begin the reenactment, this is the scene. Some militia members are on the common, while others have returned home or are around Buckman Tavern, coming and going. Inside, Captain Parker anxiously awaits any news of the regulars or their whereabouts. You will see one of Parker's scouts, Thaddeus Bowman, return on horseback to Buckman Tavern to warn Captain Parker that the regulars were indeed on their way and very close. Parker will order the firing of the alarm guns and William Diamond to sound the alarm on his drum. The militia will respond to this late alarm, rally as many men to the defense of the town as possible, and take up positions on the common. With the regulars approaching from the east, and as the militia line up on the common, Hancock remembered that his trunk was left behind at Buckman Tavern. This trunk contained his private papers, including names and other information of many revolutionaries of the time. Revere volunteered to retrieve this trunk.
This Patriots Day, we are live in Lexington for the 250th
As the regulars advance onto the common, Parker's men show a mix of emotions: confusion as the men are still arriving, anger from the growing tensions within the colony, fear of the sizable force now a reality standing in front of them, and uncertainty of what will happen next. Several of the militia will push to the front in defiance, and others will try to retreat in fear. As the size of the force bearing down on them grows in size, one of Parker's men cries out, "There are so few of us. It is folly to stand here." It is at this time when Captain Parker will attempt to steady his men and issues this command: "Do not fire unless fired upon. Let the troops pass by, and do not molest them without they be first." You can find a 19th century interpretation of this famous command engraved on a stone marker on the northeast side of the common. As the regulars ready themselves in battle formation, British officers advance forward towards Parker's company and demand that the rebels disperse. Using this time of unrest to their advantage, the men from Woburn and Lexington, who were captured earlier in the night as they spied on the regulars' advance, will try and make their escape. Suddenly, a shot will ring out. To this day, we do not know who fired first, and the first armed confrontation of the American Revolution will begin.
Okay. Well, Brooke, before we go, give us a quick little teaser of what's about to happen. Yeah. The regulars are going to come. And while we all know what's about to happen, it's really important to remember these guys didn't. Right. The King 250 years ago didn't know that a whole bunch of that would lead to a year-long war and eventually the United States becoming its own country. That is so crazy. They had no clue. They were no guarding a nation. Thank you so much, Brooke. And we're going to send it back to Anna in the studio because we have a lot more coming up in the next hour.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
No way. If that thing goes down, you're sitting there.
On the wind, and then you get them.
I know.
Or perhaps that's fine. Still, yeah.
What's happening?
Thaddeus has returned.
What's happening? What is it, Thaddeus?
The regulars are coming down the road. They're only a half a mile away. There are many of them, and they're moving swiftly.
Thaddeus, stable your horse behind the tavern and meet us on the common.
Aye.
You there, you three men, sound the alarm guns. Diamond, William Diamond, sound to arms. Sergeant Monroe, form the company.
Come on. Come on, we're going to go to Kendall.
You two go. Stay with me.
Yep. Morning.
Okay. I'll wait here and ask her what our orders are. Captain, are we to march to Concord and assist with the provincial stores?
No, we'll form here and delay their advance.
Aye, sir.
Company, handle arms. Rest your firelocks. Shoulder your firelocks. Company, prime and load. Steady, men. We're not here to provoke them. Cousin Jonas, thank you for standing with us. Stay strong. I hear drums. Steady, men.
Good morning, everyone. We are live here in Lexington, giving you a front row history. Thank you so much for spending your morning with us. I'm Joseph Jackson, sir. And I'm with such an exciting day out here. The legacy lives on the famous Battle of Lexington Reenactment at the famous evacuation years ago, 1775, and it marked the beginning, as you know, of the American Revolutionary War. We are also happening right behind us. These very tense moments here in Lexington. And this is going to be jam-packed morning. Sort of like all of today's events are depends on the right now. Depends on the Battle of Lexington. Will run from 7 to 6. Yeah, and then scheduled to begin right now.
Lieutenant.
Marking the battle with a dawn salute followed by a special parade that'll happen Greektown at 6:30. There are so many people here on the Battle Green in Lexington. We have live coverage of all of the excitement that's happening this morning. We're taking some live footage right now of the ride. Of course, we are walking you through the exact moments that happened 250 years ago. We also have WBZ's Mike Sullivan out in Concord for us. He's standing by live for us. And Mike, how is it over there? All right, looks like we're having some technical issues with Mike's live shot, but rest assured he is in Concord, and as soon as we can get him back, we will show you a live look at the scene there for the Battle of Concord.
A lot of excitement happening over there. Yes, it's about an hour. But to help us walk us through today's events, we're going to bring on our historian, Brooke.
Company, support your
Thanks so much for being
Firelocks.
Brooke has been looking at the reenactment because we were thinking we were going to go to Concord, but you have been helping us all morning long, walking us through the scenes that are happening here. I want to talk a little bit about the feeling that these men were having in this moment. What led up to them feeling like they had to fight for their independence?
Most success in Lexington. They really didn't. They were outnumbered. There's 7 years. And
That's the best guy. He's the only one.
now, and we know that
Very good caption.
they didn't know what was going to happen, but they're queued up too. Some of them went home. Some of them went to the bar to get a beer. How could they have known?
No, I mean, I think
confused.
when you think about how they must have been feeling, and it's just unimaginable. But really, even though it wasn't per se as successful as the Battle of Concord, these men really made an impact on that battle because they gave people in Concord a lack of that element of surprise, right? Those Minutemen had more time to prepare. They were ready. They knew that the British were coming. So even though they didn't win here, they helped in a huge way.
That's right. What happened here was a surprise to everyone. British soldiers was a surprise to me. So by the time they
Not yet.
Brooke Barbier, thank you so much. Historian with us this
Steady,
morning.
men.
With us all morning, providing us great information. Thank you so much, Brooke.
Well, Jennifer, good morning. A calm has come over the crowd because we are
Prince.
moments away from the action portion of this reenactment. As you mentioned, Jennifer, I'm joined by Craig Sandler, who is familiar with
Company, shoulder your
Shoulder.
firelocks. Steady, men.
Surround them! Light infantry, advance!
battalion, fight on!
There are so few of us. It's folly to stand here.
The first man who offers to run shall be shot.
Halt!
Steady, men! Steady! Stand your ground! Do not fire unless fired upon. Let the troops pass by and do not molest them without they being first.
Steady in ranks.
Steady, men.
Give me an armed guard. Give me an armed guard. Lay down your arms. Disperse and return to your homes. No one will be harmed. Lay down your arms. Disperse, you rebels, disperse! Get those men back in the ranks! Get those men back in the ranks! Control their men! Get those men back! Lay down your arms and return to your homes. Very well. Captain Parsons, sir, take the detachment, surround that rabble and disarm them. You are not to fire, is that clear? Sir, carry on. Return to your ranks.
Battalion! March! March! Take care! Halt! Form! Front!
Steady, man.
Lay down your arms. Lay down your arms! You will not run me off of my common! Damn you, will have you all! Battalion! Fix your bayonets! Shoulder! Arms! Charge up! Bayonets!
Give way, men! Quit the field!
Battalion!
Quit the field!
More!
Give way and quit the field! Quit the field!
Get those men back in the ranks! Get those men back in the ranks!
Damn you, Corporal, stay
Captain Parsons, I'm holding on the fire! Get back into your ranks!
Maintain your rank! Get back in ranks! Get back in
Control of
ranks!
your men!
Get back in ranks! Back in ranks!
Get
back in ranks!
It's a right!
What are you doing?
Sergeant, control these men!
Get those men back!
Steady, men! Get back in ranks! Private, do not fire! Subject firing! Private, get back in ranks! Samuel!
Play a rally! Here, let's head! Let's head!
Return to ranks!
Get those men back! Come forward, come forward, come forward. Right there, one. Get back in ranks! Damn you all, get back in ranks!
Get back in ranks, Private! Sergeant, look what you've done! Back up, back up, back up! Dress on the soldier! Dress on the drummers! Dress on the drummers!
Corporal, what the hell was that? I saw you shoot him there! You had no orders!
Steady rank, Sergeant!
Parsons, I told you not to fire!
Damn you, Pitcairn! Officers call!
Told you not to fire!
You gentlemen need to control your men.
So they fired first?
They fired on us, sir.
Sir, the country's alarmed. We should go back to Boston.
Very good.
Yes, sir, I think we should.
Sir, we must return to Boston.
The town could be cleaned out by now, sir.
The mission's been compromised, sir.
Very good, gentlemen.
Sir, really?
Our orders are to march to Concord.
No, sir.
And I am determined to obey them. We march to Concord. Return to ranks.
Sir.
Battalion! Prime in! Load! Make ready! Elevating! Present! Fire! Half cock, fire lock! Shoulder, fire lock! Shut! Pan! Battalion will advance by companies from the right, by the center, advance! Three cheers for His Majesty, King George! Hip hip! Huzzah! 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 Quack! March!
The battle is over. Parker and his militia have quit the field, but for them and many others, the day is still young. Major Lomi Baldwin, with his Woburn militia, were on their way to the alarm and heard the gunfire in the distance. Arriving here on the heels of the regulars' departure, Lomi will recall, "I was near Jacob Reed's. I heard a great firing. We proceeded on as fast as possible and came to Lexington and saw about 8 to 10 dead and numbers wounded. 8 colonists, in fact, lay dead here, while 10 were wounded and helped off the field. The dead colonists after this battle were John Brown, Samuel Hadley, Caleb Harrington, Jonathan Harrington Jr., Robert Monroe, Isaac Muzzy, Jonas Parker, Asahel Porter. These casualties were placed in the meeting house that morning by their family, neighbors, and comrades. Elijah Sanderson would report, "I returned to the meeting house and saw to the dead. I assisted in carrying some of the dead into the meeting house. Later in the day, the dead were moved and buried in a shallow grave covered with heaps of brush to hide them from the regulars should they return." By the time the regulars arrived in Concord, militias from there and surrounding communities were waiting in defiance of the regulars' advance. Upon meeting with this resolve, the regulars were forced to retreat back to Boston. Meanwhile, realizing that British troops will return once again to Lexington, the women, children, elderly, and sick of the town will be forced to flee to safety again, and the roads of Lexington became clogged with women and children, unsure of where to go. Some Lexington women remained behind, risking their lives by exposing themselves again to the dangers of war. Rebecca Fisk and her family would flee as the Redcoats approached, and moments later, hand-to-hand combat would erupt outside her homestead. Anna Monroe would wait until the last minute to abandon the family tavern. Her then 4-year-old daughter would later recall how her mother carried her 2 younger siblings and led her to safety as homes burned around her and the British artillery fired over their head. Eventually, Lexington civilians successfully fled from the coming fight and watched from nearby hills as the horrors of war unfolded before them. Later in the morning, Captain Parker and the Reverend Jonas Clark will rally the defeated militia company and convince the men of Lexington to re-enter the battle. Captain Parker and his men, now over 100 strong, will assemble on this very common and march to war. With the smell of gunpowder still in the air, their neighbors and brothers dead in the wake of the morning battle, and knowing the size of the force they faced that morning, this small militia company bravely marched toward Concord to meet the British column once again. According to local tradition, Company Fifer Jonathan Harrington played the Jacobite tune, "The White Cockade," as they marched toward the retreating British column. What you are about to witness is Parker rallying his men, which took place only but a few short hours after that bloody fight on the Common.
William, sound the assembly.
The dead
Sergeant
shall
Monroe,
rise.
form the company.
Oh, yeah.
Officers and music, post.
All right, you want to go out?
Sergeant Monroe, read the orders.
How you doing?
Great work today.
Thank you.
Oh, the selfie.
Company, attention to orders. Resolved on December 16, 1774, by the Massachusetts Provincial Congress, John Hancock, President. Each soldier to provide himself with a good firearm, a steel, wood, or iron ramrod, and a spring for same, a worm, a priming wire and brush, a bayonet fitted to his gun, a scabbard and belt thereof, a cutting sword or tomahawk or hatchet, a cartridge box holding 15 rounds, at least, 100 buckshot, 6 flints, 1 pound of powder, 40 leaden balls fitted to the gun, a knapsack and blanket, a canteen or wooden bottle to hold 1 quart water. Failure to obey this resolution shall result in the assessment of a fine.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Clear?
Company, handle, arm. Rest your firelocks. Shoulder your firelocks. Lieutenant Tidd, inspect the men. Make sure they are properly equipped and armed.
Sir, the company has been inspected and armed to the best of their ability.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Company, rest your firelocks. Order your firelocks. Company, rest. Reverend Clark.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. We are live in Lexington, where we just saw the reenactment of the historic battle.
Brothers, Patriots, it was only this morning that 8 men lay dead and many others gravely wounded on this very ground. The innocent blood of our brethren makes this soil a hallowed place for future generations, for today it shall become a fertile field that will yield a rich harvest of freedom. As you set forth to right the unspeakable wrongs of this day, to set your bravery against the brutality that was the tyrannical actions of His Majesty's troops, it is important to bear witness to the justice of your cause. Where was the king's justice? Where was the king's righteousness? The desires and nature of a monarch are made known by the works of his servants, and thus it is clear whether that monarch is deserving of the loyalty and duty of his subjects. What are we to say then, when a band of the king's troops, those sons of oppression and violence, inflict a murderous volley, not once but many times, upon those who were quitting the field to let them leave unmolested? The lust of domination appears no longer in disguise, but with open face. The liberties and the rights of all Englishmen were by this murderous action set at naught and made a mockery. For why did you and your martyred brethren stand here on the common but a few hours past, if not to bear witness by presenting your very bodies that your liberties, your homes, your even your lives were inviolate, the lies with us. That will grow from this place into the outer reaches of the human imagination, to the sacred limits of our immortal souls. Whatever we have been before, we are Americans now. Clear it is that maintaining that identity will require a fusion of blood and sacrifice of life. For the events of this morning means conflict, brothers. It means war. Others may have thought it. Some may have wished for it. Most of us feared it. But we cannot return to the fashion of things that were. Our presence on the common today and our 8 martyred brethren who have sanctified this ground proclaim to the world, and mostly to King and Parliament, that Americans are prepared to defend and preserve their liberties and rights, even at the cost of rebellion. This, for us, is a journey into the unknown, for we do not know what sacrifices will be required of us, or how many months or years of struggle lie before us. But of this we can be sure beyond doubt, that in the struggle between tyranny and liberty, our God is always the God of liberty. For he is the God who set free his people from slavery in Egypt and into the land of the promise. And he fulfilled that promise generations later in the coming of our Redeemer Christ, who taught us with his own life that in life and in death and beyond death, that God's kingdom will triumph, and that the ways of God are not only the ways of righteousness and truth, but of life eternal and our lives right now, of love that is limitless and divine, and sacrificial love like yours for family, for neighbors, and for country. Trust in God that soon or late victory is certain. His Majesty's troops are fighting far from home for the purpose of keeping the past upon its throne. Whatever lies dear to them lies 3,000 miles at their backs. What is dear to us, family, homes, liberty, our country, lies close at hand. And that is a strength that cannot be measured in numbers. We march from the shadows of the past into the fair light of the future, and that is freedom. Beyond thrones, beyond kings, beyond tyrants who would invade our communities and destroy our homes and kill our citizens and threaten our families and seek to control our country. Whatever trials lie before us, our end is sure. It is liberty. Will history remember our actions, our sacrifice? Will the world learn the lesson of this day, that tyranny will not be tolerated, that injustice will be resisted with courage and commitment, that all people deserve to be free and treated with compassion? That the power of God is on the side of the good, the innocent, and the just. Lord, let it be so. So it is with high purpose that you walk forward into this day's battle. You go beyond all that is ordinary, beyond fear of peril, beyond things that were into things that will be, that must be. So shall you face the foe with courage and God's blessing and mine. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend. Men, many of you are here this morning when the bloody backs made their appearance and rushed furiously upon us. Without any provocation, We received heavy and close fire from them. They killed 8 of our party and continued to fire on us until we dispersed off the parade ground. Now, we know the troops will march back through our village again. They will try to kill us, pillage our homes, and harm our families. Yes, you may flee, leave everything behind, and escape with your lives. But our liberties, our rights as Englishmen, is now in great danger of being replaced by the shackles of slavery. What was formerly mere lives, mothers, daughters, children, and sick parents have all fled in fear, waiting for death to come. They are scared, helpless, and believe the damn lobsters will murder all of us. Will we do nothing to protect those we love? 18 months ago, we pledged to sacrifice everything, including our lives, in support of the common cause. Men, the time has come to honor that pledge. For our families, our homes, everything we hold dear, we must return to this fight. We will take advantage of walls and fences, and with vigor and haste, we shall pursue them relentlessly. We will cut them off and make them our prisoners. They will regret the day they entered Lexington. We will teach General Gage that Yankees fight! Sir. We're marching to Pine Hill, near the Nelson and Hastings homes. We'll set up an ambush there and warmly greet the regulars as they return from Concord.
Captain, might I suggest we take advantage of the large boulders and the heavy tree line on the Nelson farms in order to protect our flank?
Agreed, Lieutenant. When we arrive, have your platoon take that position.
Aye.
Company, handle, arm! Rest your firelocks! Shoulder your firelocks! Company will advance by files from the right to the right face. Burn! March! Shoulder your firelocks! Present! Left wheel. Shoulder your firelocks.
Captain Parker's company marched to the town's border, shared with Lincoln to ambush the retreating regulars. As His Majesty's forces approached, the Lexington men would unleash a deadly musket volley across the front of the column. The regulars would counterattack, resulting in 2 more Lexington deaths, Jedediah Monroe and Nathaniel Wyman. In the aftermath of Parker's revenge, Captain Parker and his men would continue to pursue and attack the regulars through Lexington, Menotomy, now Arlington, and Cambridge. One Lexington non-combatant, John Raymond, was also killed when British forces, under the command of Lord Hugh Earl Percy, arrived in the afternoon and set up a defensive line around Monroe Tavern. Before the day ended, 41 colonists and 174 regulars were wounded, and 49 colonists and 73 regulars lay dead. Of those numbers, 20, including 10 wounded and 10 dead, were from Lexington. In Lexington, we will always honor the memory of these first casualties of war who gave their lives for their country in the first battle of the American Revolution. 7 of these fallen are buried here, moved on the 60th anniversary of the battle in April 1835 to the knoll on the west side of the common marked by the granite obelisk, which includes this phrase, "Sacred to liberty and the rights of mankind, the freedom and independence of America, sealed and defended with the blood of her sons." This monument, originally set in place on July 4th, 1799, is the oldest memorial of the Revolutionary War and why we honor them by treating this common as hallowed ground. Before we close this event, I would like to thank the hard work of the men and women of the Lexington Police, Fire, and Public Works Departments, the Lexington History Museums, the Town Celebrations Committee, and our elected officials for their tireless efforts throughout the night and for many years supporting this event. And this year, I would also like to thank those on the Lexington 250 Commission, Co-Ventures, and our media partners at NBC Boston. The Lexington Minutemen will be returning here shortly after we conclude. If you wish to meet them, they will be available to meet at the east end of the common between the Minuteman statue and the flagpole. The rest of the common must be clear so the DPW can begin preparations for other events later this morning. The modern-day Lexington Minutemen Company, among other reenactment groups, will later continue to the Minuteman National Historical Park to join many other units to reenact the British column's retreat, but specifically, Lexington will reenact Parker's revenge. Here in Lexington, there are several other events during the day to help celebrate this 250th anniversary of this nation's first battle for freedom. Make sure to check out Lex250.org to join us as we continue to celebrate this special day. Lexington's town seal includes a phrase, "What a glorious morning for America." Although lives were lost that day, these words honor those that sacrificed everything, yea, and life itself, in support of the common cause. It was indeed glorious. Thank you, and good morning.